Do you ever get stressed? And do you know what the signs are that you're getting stressed? So some of them might be obvious. You might be feeling tense. You might stop communicating. You might get angry. You might start micromanaging. There are all sorts of ways that we express stress when we're feeling ourselves under stress. So I want to talk about that and how we manage stress, because this has been prompted by a response somebody made to a post I put up about one of my podcasts from a few weeks ago about how clarity is really important in the communication part of selling. And selling, in my opinion, is primarily about communication. So if you're not an effective communicator, you're going to struggle with sales anyway. But the next thing is that if you can't manage your own stress, you are definitely going to struggle. And this is another differentiator between the people who struggle in sales and the people who do really well. So top salespeople know how to handle stress. And where that starts is recognizing when you're under stress, because often when you're in it, you're not aware of it. You get caught up in the emotion. Stress is obviously an emotion, and you get caught up in that. And once you're in it, it can be very difficult to just step back, look at what you're doing, and then start doing something different. But if you are stressed and you come across as stressed to the client that you're working with, so particularly when you're trying to close a deal, that can be really counterproductive, because the person you're dealing with will pick up on the emotion that you're presenting, and that will make them uncomfortable. And of course, most of us are not going to buy from somebody who is making us feel uncomfortable. There's an issue of trust, which is absolutely fundamental. So you're likely to scupper the whole deal. So your ability to recognize when you're stressed and to manage it effectively is really important, because, and the hard truth about this is that if you can't do that, you will always stay where you're at. You're going to stay mediocre. You're not going to be one of those top tiers of salespeople who, from the outside, look like nothing bothers them. They just sail through. It's all good. But in fact, inside, they're human. They're just like pretty much everybody else. And certain things will stress them, but they have taken the time and they have the awareness to recognize what's going on and then do something positive with it and do something about it. So what are the signs that you're getting stressed? So as I hope you know, I'm a DISC practitioner, an extended DISC practitioner. And one of the things that comes out when you do a DISC profile, and this isn't specifically selling the DISC profiles, so I don't think they're a problem. And if you're picking up a background noise, I do apologize for it. But where I am, they've just been building for weeks, so I'm getting stressed. And I guess that takes me on to the different personality types. So if you don't know, DISC it's built around 4 primary types of person who exhibit certain behaviors. And pretty much all of us will have a couple of those, will be more dominant in their personality than the other 2. And what a DISC profile does, it tells you which of those 4 aspects are dominant in your personality, and that gives you a lot of insight into not only what careers are good for you, but how you communicate, where misunderstandings occur with other people, and also how stress tends to show itself in that type of person. So how does stress show itself? And with when we're talking about ourselves, maybe we're aware of it, but it's also good to just watch what we're doing. And if you're a manager or you're a leader, it's really good to recognize when stress is occurring in other people, because it may not be immediately obvious unless you know the signs. So with some types of people, and this includes me, I tend to get stress will show itself by me getting angry. I might be getting a lot less patient. And so that's a sign I look out for. It may be that you become a people pleaser, or it may be that you start to micromanage, or it might be that you just get really, really disorganized. So there are certain tells, certain giveaways that stress is going on. And I'm going to start with self-management because I think that's the most important thing to do. Because even if you're managing other people, you need to recognize in yourself where the problems are. So once you know what your own tells are for stress, what do you do about it? Well, when it comes to sales, it is really, really important that when you're going in face to face with clients, that you are managing the situation, that they have trust in you. If they feel that you're stressed or under the pump, depends on the relationship, but a lot of times they'll be a bit more wary of you, that you're likely to undermine trust. And so it's really important that, as a general rule, you just manage that. So the thing to do is, first of all, to recognize it. Secondly, the thing I always take a deep breath. The next thing is to just recognize that you don't need to make this deal. So try and take the pressure off by not making this deal critical. Look, it might be really important to you. And I've certainly worked on deals that have been very big or just strategically really important. So obviously those situations build in their own pressure. But when it comes to face with the client, it's really important to energetically get out of that really stressful environment that you find yourself in. So just take yourself out of it, deep breath, relax. And it actually works almost in the way that the more you don't care about the sale, the more likely you are to get it, if that's not oversimplifying it. But the thing is, if you appear emotionally that this doesn't matter to you, so in other words, just staying relaxed, deep breath, calm yourself down, go through step by step, use the process, go through all of the things that have got you this far. So it is clarity is a big part of that. It's been really clear on, okay, what do we need to do now? What are the elements of that need to get done? Who's responsible for it? When do they need to get done? How are we doing? Are we behind track? Are we on track? Where are we? But really focus down into the essential steps within that meeting, and so that you're clear of what the outcomes are from that meeting. When we have a meeting, there should be clear outcomes. So we don't have a meeting unless we know why we're there. Otherwise, what's the point of it? So that I very strongly recommend is something that you do. And it may be a case of getting if you're driving there, get there early, or if you're public transport, whatever it is, just get there a bit early. Listen to some music if that works for you. Go for a walk, whatever you have to do to just calm yourself down and get into an emotional space where you are more relaxed. And when you are more relaxed, that allows you to focus more on what needs to be done. You can take the meeting through because the chances are you'll be running it, or at least subtly running it. And you make sure that you cover everything that needs to be covered, and that you set up the outcome that you are looking for that meeting. So that's it from a sales perspective. I'm going to touch on the management side of it, because the leadership and management is something that is also important. And this isn't just if you are a manager or a leader with your own group. It's also when you, as a salesperson, when you're dealing with clients, you're basically leading them. So you need to be able to recognize stress in those people as well. Because if your client's stressed when you go and meet them, this might not be the time to have that meeting. And I have scrub meetings with clients because I've recognized that they're stressed out, something's going on. And I know that if I'm trying to get a deal moving through and they're stressed, the chances are that's not going to go well. And in fact, that might definitely have a negative impact on the sale, because they may well feel that I'm sort of pushing through and I'm not conscious or even interested in what's going on for them. So the simple thing to do is just say, look, it looks like you have a lot going on at the moment. Would you rather that we just reschedule this meeting? That takes the pressure off both of you. And if they say, yes, let's reschedule, two things happen. One is you have stepped away from being in an environment that is not going to help you close a deal. And with most people, they'll be quite grateful that you have recognized what's going on for them and you have been proactive in taking the pressure off them. You're, again, For me, the key to selling is to be there for the client. It's consultative selling. It's being a problem solver for the client. And if the client is stressed out and you're insisting on having a meeting that clearly they're not going to be focused on, then that's not really working for the client. So when you approach it that way, when you put in a bit of flexibility, when you allow the client to just reschedule, they're more grateful to you. You may well be the only one doing that. Other salespeople might come in and try and drive ahead with whatever the meeting is about, if these are your competitors. So you want to stand out from them. Obviously, you need to stay in control of the deal, so you don't want to let things slip for too long. But you do need to recognize what's going on in the moment for your client. So I guess to recap all of this, stress is something that we deal with every day. And we all have times when we get really stressed. It might be that things aren't going well. It may be that the orders aren't coming in. We're not getting new clients. It might be we have things going on outside of the office that are having a really big impact because they're just constantly there. I mean, that's called life. We things happen, and they're not always things that we would choose to have happen when we would choose to have them happen. So it is really important, first of all, to do a self-check and recognize when your stress levels are at a point where they are now becoming counterproductive. So for a lot of people, a little bit of stress is helpful because it keeps them focused. I remember talking to a senior manager at a big multinational company, actually, on one occasion, and he had come back from holiday in France where apparently they stressed the vines to help them grow, and he felt that that was a useful way to treat his people. Not sure I totally go along with that, but anyway, that was an approach. But the thing is, we're going to have stress. So some people respond well to some stress. I think that, again, depends very much on your personality type and your behavioural type. So again, DISC, just to plug it again, is a really good thing to do. So you can find out more about that on my website, which is www.salescraft.training. When you do recognise you are stressed, then, as I've said, the first thing to do is to look at how you manage it. Can you self-manage? If you can't, the next stage then is to either rearrange, and I'm talking primarily about meetings here, face-to-face meetings, either to rearrange the meeting yourself and just ask if it's possible to do it, or if that's not a possibility, maybe see if there's somebody who can go in on your behalf, or at least go in with you, because sometimes if you have another person there, that can work. And what I've often done with people I've worked with, we've sort of tag teamed. If one person's getting stuck or needs a bit of thinking time, I would say to them, ask me a question, which might be, Graham, what do you think about that? Or Graham, do you have anything to add? Something really simple like that. I know that, okay, they need thinking time, so I'll just take the ball and talk to the client and just run it for a bit until they're at a point where they're ready to get back in again. So there's various ways you can handle this. But as I've said, the key thing about it is, yes, stress is most definitely a factor. Yet we all have to deal with it. It is harder to deal with than it is to talk about dealing with it, that's for sure. But it is really important that you recognize what the symptoms are when you're getting stressed, if you're a leader or a manager, your people are getting stressed, and when your clients are getting stressed, and to manage those situations. And I think you'll find that when you do that, you will definitely find that sales progress much more easily, and it's actually a much more pleasant experience. So that's it, just talking about stress. I felt that was worth a few minutes to talk about that, and I hope you found that useful. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you in the next podcast. So bye for now. Just before I go, if you're in sales, you already know that effective communication with your client is essential to making sales. But unfortunately, most struggling salespeople that I've spoken to make the mistake of assuming that everybody communicates in the same way. Well, they don't. And in order to help you with that, I am running a series of 4 free webinars, and they start on the 2nd of June. And they run at 6:30 p.m. Sydney time, but that doesn't matter. If you're in a different time zone, that's fine, because they're all recorded. They're all about up to 30 minutes long, so they're pretty short. And I will take you through the 4 styles, how to recognize them, and what you need to do to change your approach so that you really connect with people very, very easily. So they're running from the 2nd of June. Please go to the link in the description, and please remember to like and subscribe. That's it from me. Bye for now.